Good day, friends. I'm still continuing with my Canada Revisited fortnight. So you see the Canada flag still up there. That will not come down till my wife is back from Canada, and she is still there for another 5 days. So up it stays. Right, so what have I got for you today? Well, let me tell you something. I had a parcel this morning, and give you some ideas to what's in the parcel. There you go. Here's a big box. Quite a big box. Quite a big box. Blah 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 blah. And this has come from, I don't know where it's come from, can't remember. Come from a guy, I don't know where it says it is. Anyway, it's been shipped to me. And I'm going to show you the guitar. And when I tell you why this one's come in, you'll know what guitar it is. Anyway, I did a video quite a long while back. It's my most popular video. And its owner told he'll never cure fret buzz, and the guitar in question was a Classic Vibe Telecaster Squier. Absolutely wonderful guitar, and I think this guy must have seen that video because he has the same problem with fret buzz on his Classic Vibe Telecaster, so he sent me his, and he lives miles away, and that I love that. I just love that someone has watched my videos and has got enough faith in me to ship me guitars. That said, I get quite a few guitars shipped to me for work, so don't let that ever put you off if you're too far away to come to Nottingham itself. Anyway, here is the guitar in question. It came with strings off. I've not checked it over or anything. I've not appraised it. I have seen there is a little bit of fretwear. In fact, there's quite a lot of fretwear. So I would say we're definitely going to go with a fret level regardless of anything else. Now, the owner of this guitar, I'll call him Steve because that's his name. I said, no expense spared. Do what needs to be done. So that would mean if it needed a refret, it would get a refret. I don't want to go as far as giving it a refret because a refret is a lot of work. It's a lot of hours. I would think, looking at the frets, they're about 1.1 millimeters high. I'd have thought we'd get enough off there to level the whole lot, and I think that is what I'm going to do. I don't think you're going to really see the frets uber close. We have indentations, but they're not super worn. I've not gone across, this is the first time I've handled this guitar. In fact, the first time I handled it was a minute before I started the video. It was when I took it out of the box and put it on my new Hercules guitar stand, which, by the way, is a fantastic guitar stand. I'll just show you that. This is, I don't know why I didn't get one of these years ago. Great, solid guitar stand, but it's one of these that holds the guitar, and as you put the guitar in, it grips it. No matter what guitar it is, it grips it. And the body of the guitar rests on these cushion pads at the bottom. So your guitar, and it leans back that way, so your guitar is just hanging. It's like putting it on a hanger. You'd be very, you'd have to be uber skilled to be able to kick this or knock this over. Absolutely fantastic stand. I don't know the model number, so, oh hang on, I do know the model number because the box is just over there. If you want to check the model number of a stand, they're about 35 quid, they're absolutely brilliant. And it's guitar stand GS415B. Bear with, I'll get the box and I can show you how it works. And that's the mechanism. That's how it works. Absolutely brilliant guitar stand. I might even buy another one. I don't need another one. If I ever needed one of these again, I would not hesitate in buying one. Absolutely brilliant piece of kit. Blah 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 blah. And that's enough about advertising that for Hercules. So the guitar. What a beautiful thing. It's a little bit dirty, it needs a bit of a clean. It will get a clean anyway. It will be having the full setup. I do not have a notch straight edge in front of me. Aha, that's because it's over here. 25 inch. I've not checked the neck to see if it's straight yet. With the strings off in on me, in fact it's got back bow in it, so there's no point checking that yet. I need to get a truss rod adjuster in there. In fact, I'll do that right now. It should be a 4mm. Let's find out. I'll do this while you're here. This may as well be the appraisal video, isn't it? Is it a 4mm? No, that means it's a 5. It must be a 5. Got these from China a few years back. Nielsen, well not China, Nielsen brand. I always buy Nielsen brand, it's guaranteed for a long time. They make good tools. There you go, 5mm. Just loosen that truss rod off a little bit. Beautiful. And there you go, so we have, if it's, oh, that's a two-way truss rod, that's exactly what we need. And it's a good truss rod. It does work when you turn it. Oh, that's brilliant. Okay. It's one of these necks that you get almost straight, not perfectly straight, but that's okay. How are we doing there? Well, a truss rod that actually works. Oh, so okay, the neck goes a little bit like that, where I cannot get it perfectly straight. If I turn it too much one way, it's got back bow. If I turn it too much the other way, it's got relief. So what we do is, in that situation, we get it as straight as we can across the length of the neck, and then we do the actual levelling across the frets. I can already tell this is a reason why the guy's getting fretboards, because no one knew how to set these frets properly, or no one has touched these frets. So let me go and get the fret rocker. I'll have a quick scoot across with my fret rocker. When I find it, it'll be out here. It's on the fret leveling bench over there. I'm just going to give it a quick scoot, not on camera, and what I'll do is I'll then get it set up as one higher header. There's two. This is just a quick scoot across. I'll do it proper on camera in a bit. 3. First impressions, 4, 5. So we have 6 high frets anyway. With that 6 wobbling frets and a little bit of fret wear, I can see I'm already recommending a complete fret level with an intensive setup. I imagine I shouldn't think I'd need to change the nut. That looks okay. I'll check the electrics. We're going to be looking in the region of I don't know yet, I'll price it up later. It could be 100, 110 quid with a setup, all depending on the level of setup we need. I'm including strings as well. So absolute top whack, we're going to be looking at £115, including strings. Then the guy's going to pay return postage. So all in all, not a bad scenario. I'm going to move the camera, well, probably better off getting the neck off. So what I'm going to do is, off camera, I'm going to check the electrics. I thought it was a fly in the room. I'm going to stop videoing anyway. When there's a fly in the room, it's time to stop. Kill the fly, restart the video. Back in a second. Right, so we do have one small problem, and I'll try and explain. It'll probably be easy to explain when I've got the camera in a different position and I'm showing you the neck itself. But with the relief completely removed from the fingerboard, we have the neck has to be bowed. For us to have no back bow, that's at both ends, no gaps both ends. With this, we need to leave in a little bit of relief. Now that causes us a problem, because that means the neck is up down across the length, and that means we can't get it perfectly straight. So how do we set it as straight as possible to actually get a good fret level? You see, the thing is, if a neck is not perfectly level, that doesn't really matter. It's all about having a level across the frets. So what we need to do is get the neck as level or as flat across its length as possible, and then we can do the actual leveling across the tops of the frets. It means your playing surface is level. Your playing surface, right, is not the fingerboard, which many people think it is. Your playing surface is actually the tops of your frets, and all you're doing is you need to push a string enough to hit the fret, not to press onto the fingerboard. Imagine, for instance, a fully scalloped fingerboard. You don't press your strings right onto the fingerboard, you just basically pull the string down behind the fret, and that's where it gives you the note. So, contrary to popular belief, and an easy mistake to make, is thinking that the fingerboard is the playing surface. It isn't, it is actually the top of the frets. So what we can do is we can get the neck as straight as we possibly can, determined normally by making mistakes and experience. Now luckily, I'm well past the making mistakes stage in my skill set and in my career, and I'm at the stage where I can just make an educated, not even an educated guess, just by experience. I know where I need to set the neck, and it's more or less where it feels right, oddly enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera. I'm going to try and get the camera in a position where, one, I can still work, but two, you can also see. And once I've determined what I think is going to be the best case scenario, or the straightest neck for the straightest frets, that is where then I will go across with a fret rocker again, and I will test the frets for levelness. Now, if none of that means anything to you, and you don't understand what I'm on about, what can I say? Tough. I can't explain it again. Well, I can explain it again, but there's no point. You can rewind it. But what I will do is I will try and get the camera set up in a good position. I'll try and get some light behind there so you can see actually what I'm talking about. And we'll crack on. Just before I do move on to doing that, I did get a lovely letter from the owner of the guitar, and basically says, "Hi Victor, this guitar's had a setup done by an idiot, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah blah blah." He also says it might have been a shit fret job from the factory. Is this going to be keeping? I'm quite happy to pay for a full fret job and setup, whatever it takes to bring it up to its full potential. Absolutely fantastic. He's in no rush. Scale time suits me. See what you can do with it. I think he's got playability to match the looks. It absolutely has. It just needs someone who knows how to bring it out. That's a fantastic. What a great thing to say. So he gives me his address, which is Burgess Hill, wherever that is, and the postcode is an RH15 postcode, wherever that is. Strings normally 10s, but 9s, if you can get 9s on there without string buzz. Well, fret buzz, we'll definitely get rid of the fret buzz. We'll definitely get this guitar set up right. So what remains for me to do now is to do basically what I just said. Is get the camera moved somewhere where you can see what I'm talking about, and then we can crack on, and I will go again across the frets with fret rocker while you're here. I'm not doing it in between. I'm not going to go off, do it, then come back and say, oh, there's 20 frets for that one level or whatever. I'm actually going to do it, so you're going to get a live reading, so to speak. So give me a couple of minutes and stay tuned. Right, the good thing about it is I don't need a light behind it because you've got the daylight, because I'm at the front window behind it. So you'll see here there's a gap beneath the not straight edge of my fingerboard, and that means I've got too much back bow in it. But this area in the middle, there's no gap. The not straight edge is touching the fingerboard, and again at this end there is a gap again. That means we have back bow. It means the next arc's that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove that. I'm going to remove it till there is no back bow. And there you go. Still a bit at that far end. But that's it. There is now no back bow. There's no gaps here, and there's no gaps here. But you will now see there are gaps in the centre. And now we've got what you call relief. That's like a smiley face bow. So, you know, either way, we can't get it perfectly straight. So what I need to do is get it as straight as I can without there being any major gaps anywhere else. So I'm going to tighten up the truss rod again, get rid of that middle bow as much as I can there, but not leave any bow there. And I still have a tiny bit of bow there, tiny bit there, and a tiny bit in the middle. So again, I'm going to just try and get it to where there's a tiny bit at that end, which doesn't bother me at all because we're going to have a runoff area. We're going to have the fret slightly lower toward the M1 anyway. It's what we call a roll off or a runoff. Basically what I do from a 15th fret is I take more off, take less off there and more off at this end. It creates an angle. If you can create it in reverse, it creates an angle going to make this fret the smallest fret and this one the height of all the others behind it. So we're going to get all these level, and this one we're going to go gradually smaller till we get to the end, only by 1/9 of a millimetre. But anyway, where we are now is where I would deem us to have a playable neck. I'm straight down the middle there, got a tiny bit of roll off at the end there, which I'm not bothered about. We've got a tiny bit at that end there, but that is more or less as straight as we can get the neck. And we still have a tiny bit of relief just under these frets. Now that to me is as straight as what I would say is a straight neck. That's as straight as I can get it without getting too much back bow or too much relief. Sometimes that is what we have to work with. Now why has that happened? I don't know. Bad manufacturing? Maybe. Did the wood dry enough before we stuck frets in it? Probably not. I don't know. I've got no idea about the manufacturing process. But that neck is not perfectly straight. The only way to get this neck perfectly straight now is to remove the frets, remove the nut, and sand the whole neck, then level it. I'm not going to do that because it's a very expensive process. It's a time-consuming process. It's a lot of work, and it's worth more than the actual guitar. Labour-wise, it would cost you about 350 quid to do that with a refret, probably even more, 400 quid. So what I'm doing is I'm deeming this to be the straightest I can get this neck. Maybe I can just remove. See, look, if I remove all of that back bow, and I mean all of it, there you go. That's pretty good. That's what I'm deeming to be a straight neck. So now, explaining what I explained earlier, my levelling will be across the frets. This is a straight neck for me now. That is what I deem to be a straight neck. We've got a tiny bit of relief. We've got a tiny uplifting on this back end here, but not anywhere else. Let's just go again. Got to be right. So let's settle. Okay, so we're more or less level here. Got a tiny bit of runoff here, just on the M fret, which is good, and a tiny bit of relief. That is as straight as I can get that neck. And that is straight enough. What we're now going to do is we're going to do the level across the frets. Like I said, the playing surface is not the frets. The playing surface, the playing surface is not the fingerboard. The playing surface are the frets. If it's a scalloped, you won't be pressing a finger of a string into the fingerboard. You just be pulling it behind the fret. That's what we do. So I'm going to do my level now across these 21 frets. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to go across quickly with a fret rocker. I've not practiced this or anything. I'll try and keep out of the way. One high. Just doing a quick scoop. Tiny bit high. Nothing to bother about there. That's 2 high. 3. So I'm checking 3 areas: outside, inside and middle. So we've got 3 frets so far. Frets are pretty good, which means I should be able to create a pretty decent level. That's quite high. That's 4 frets. That's 5. Six. Tiny bit high there. 7. 8. And in the middle. This one. So we have 9 high frets. Now, some of them aren't majorly high, but that doesn't make a difference. A high fret is a high fret. Also, considering we've got quite bad indentations on this end. I don't know if you can see there. You should be able to see there. Not super deep, but they're there. They're some quite deep ones there. I'm recommending a complete fret level across the whole length of the fingerboard, or the whole length of the neck, which will mean I have to get everything taped up. I get it all on the jig. I'll also have to re-crown the frets. When I level the frets and get them all level with each other, I'll flatten them and I have to put that crown back in. That way the crown goes across the length of the fret, it's like a D shape, like a dome. So I'll need to get that back in. So I'm recommending a complete fret level with a re-crown, blah 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 blah. I'm also going to check the electrics, do a complete setup on there and put on some new strings. Not an expensive job. It's still a job that's going to take me 5 hours. Sometimes, you know, I get jobs in like this and I think, oh great, because a regular complete setup would take me 2.5 hours, whereas this will take me 5 hours, and all I'm getting for this is an extra 20 to 25 quid. It makes it more long-winded, but you know, you're getting value for money and I'm getting my job done right, and that's what makes me happier than anything else. So that is my recommendation for this guitar: complete fret level. We'll have a complete setup. I'll be checking all the electrics. I'll get the cover plate off. We'll check all the electrics, make sure all the soldering's all right. If there's any scratching on there, we'll get some switch cleaner in there, and we'll have a set of new Ernie Ball slinkies on there, 942s. How's that? So there you go. It's my recommendation. I'm going to crack on with the work later, but I'm going to send this video to the owner, see what he thinks. I'm sure he's going to agree with my what I recommend, and we'll move on from there. So just a couple of things before I strip this neck that I want to show. Now these tuners, cast skew with the they're nowhere near straight. Not very good at all. And this nut, I'd have said this nut's been replaced, because whoever has been in here, you can see that this has got a shim under it, and the nut doesn't fit there, doesn't fit there, doesn't fit there. There's gaps underneath. So that nut's not been put in very nicely. I don't know who did that. I've got absolutely no idea. But I'm going to remove that nut. There you go. It's now out. Not very nice at all. Is that a flat base nut or a curved? Oh, it's a flat base nut. That's good. Could I use that again? Possibly. Would I want to? Probably not. It's got some kind of tape on the bottom, a little bit of tape gunk under there. Now I always tape the slot normally. I might like some. And also, here, this edge, where the nut was removed before, look at it, all the lacquer's been taken off. Not very nice at all. Someone took that off without knowing what they're doing, and they ripped all the lacquer off with it. So, I just want this all recorded on camera to show that this was all done before I touched it, because I'm going to repair it best I can. I'm going to colour this, I'm going to slightly tint this, and I'm going to paint it with a little layer of super glue just to make it look like it's varnished over there. So we'll have that looking fantastic. It looks like it is a flat base on there, so it's not a curved nut I need. I've got some flat nuts, so I'm about to put a flat nut in there. There's one. Not going to use that, I'm going to replace this. That's plastic, that's garbage. We're going to bin that. Chuck, off you go. I will replace that. I'll put a bone one in there. I will have some flat based bone nuts somewhere. They're curved. They're curved. Here we go. Let's have a look. And if they don't fit, which they won't, I will have to sand and file one down to make it fit, which is absolutely no problem. Just whip one of these out. I don't use many of these because most of them are curved bottom. This is a flat bottom one. Does it fit the slot? Let's have a look. No, it doesn't fit the slot. What we'll do is I will file this down. It is a flat base one. Doesn't fit the slot. Rather than file the slot, which I'm a bit loath to do, which I won't do, I will file this to fit. When it comes to gluing this in, I will glue this in with some epoxy. I will go with some Z-epoxy. Shame I ain't got 5-minute gubbins. I've got 30-minute gubbins. I might go and buy some 5-minute stuff. Makes my job a lot quicker. But I'll mix up some epoxy. We'll get that epoxied in so it sits in nice and snug. There's no air gap in there, so we'll get any rattles. We'll get a new nut in there. I'll get this all tidied up, cleared up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove these. I can't believe these are wonky. And this is a new guitar. Look at this. 29th of May 2013. This guitar's 5 years, it's not even 5, it's just 5 year old, 5.5 years old. Those tuners have been probably crap. Now what I like to do when I remove tuners is I like to mark up which one is which. So I'm going to get some tape, place it over the back, like so, and I will write on each one the position of the tuner. So what I'm going to do is, it's just a matter of, really simple, some tape on the back like so, one strip of tape, grab some scissors, just cut through each one, just so we can take these all off nice. And that's it, we'll just get these all taped off nice like so, blah 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 blah. Bear with me a second, it's very boring this is. A lot of my job's very boring, especially if I'm filming it, because it's not very exciting for you to watch. That's why I don't film everything, you know. So there you go, 6 tuners. We'll grab a pen, we've got a pen under. Right to left, E, A, D, G, B, small e. There you go. That's how I'll put everyone back on in the order that they come off. So I'm going to get them removed. I'm going to get the neck strapped to or bolted to a piece of 30mm thick MDF like this. In fact, not like this, exactly this. Already got the holes drilled. We'll get the neck plate on there and we're going to get it basically strapped to this, get it all level, and I can level the frets on there. So bear with me while I get these, take all these things off, take these tuners off, bag them all up, get the neck set up, and I'll come back and show you how we're going to go on about doing the fret level. I just want to film this while I remove the tuners because there's nothing I can do about this at all. I'm removing the tuners and all the paint lacquer underneath is already cracked. You see there? This is not me cracking it as I remove the screws, which I won't have to do anything about that anyway. This is all already cracked under the tuners. Really, really shoddy. Look. See here? This is all already cracked, all already moved. Look at that. It's just fell out. That's already like that underneath. There's nothing I can do about any of this. Nothing at all. What am I supposed to do with this? I could have done to avoid that, because that's how it is under the tuners already. So this guitar has been adjusted before something's happened to it. I mean, look at that, paint's just missing from there, lacquer. It's underneath here, look at this. There's more than one piece under there. Let me show you that. See that? This is just to show the owner that that is not me that's done that. That has just happened. Wow. So these have been off before. Maybe he took them off before, I don't know. But there's a load of lacquer under there. I can't put that back on. That's had it. So what I'm going to have to do with this, unfortunately, is just drop some super glue in there, and hopefully that will seal everything. So there's nothing I can do. Let me just show you there. Nothing I can do about that. This is all just fallen out, or it was already out. So when the screws went back in, it's cracked all that. I'm going to drop some super glue in them little holes here, just to try and tidy it up a bit, or just to try and at least hold it back in there. Very annoying this, because anyway, I will do that off camera. I'll do the best I can, but I'm not holding out much hope for this because it's cracked on every single screw hole there. Some bits there. What can I tell you? So what I've done is all I can really do, and that is I've glued that piece back in. That's going to be okay-ish. And here I've just sealed by dropping a little bit of super glue just in these areas. And that's it. It's as much as I can do. And what that will do is it'll stop this lacquer cracking any further. There's no point in trying to glue anything back in. I'm not even going to go there. But if you look here at the tuners, there is bits of lacquer trapped under there. So I would say this has been done. Well, it's definitely, I absolutely guarantee this was done before I took these off. Bits in there, look. That bit I'd already blown out. And in there, two big chunks of lacquer in there. All I'm going to do is discard all of it, because I'd never find out how this goes back in. So, very shoddy workmanship. It just goes to show that we don't drill these holes before the lacquer, then we drill the holes, and that causes the cracking. Very shoddy workmanship. Anyway, I'm going to move on. I'm going to get the neck all strapped up, ready for fret leveling. So, I've previously gone on record as stating how fantastic these Squier Classic Vibe Telecasters are, but this isn't. Far from it. I've had to turn the truss rod about 2 turns to get this neck straight enough to get all the relief removed. You shouldn't have any relief with the truss rod slackened off, but I've had to tighten the truss rod around 2 turns now. I'm going to show you. That's just about as straight as I can get that neck. And I'm going to show the frets. I have high spots, and we have 1 more or less a full fret, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 frets with high spots. This has got 2 spots that are high. Not only that, it's not so much the high spots, it's also that we have quite a bit of wear on these frets down here, so I've got to level the whole lot anyway. But this is not a great neck, and it's surprising to me. Chinese manufacturing, let me tell you something. I know some companies are making good guitars out in China, but just because it's made in China and it's got a Squier on the headstock or it's got Epiphone on the headstock doesn't mean it's a good guitar. And this is one of those. It's not a great guitar. Frets are weeder. They've worn far too quickly, which means they're using 12% nickel silver fret wire, which is crap. I'd use, as a rule, I use a minimum of 18% nickel silver fret wire. This would more likely benefit from a refret, but then again, a refret is going to be expensive because it's lacquered, so you've got to go re-lacquer afterwards. you know, so I'm just going to blob on with the fret level. I mean, this for me, it's a long-winded job. I'm going to look at my pricing structure for fret levels, because I'm doing far too much work for far too little reward. So that's something I can look at later. All I want to do with this is just highlight that this is not a brilliant neck. It's very much like a neck I bought recently, which was an expensive neck. It cost me 110 quid, and I sent it back twice because the frets were all over the place. This is very reminiscent of that. So anyway, I'm going to soldier on. I'm going to get this all taped up. Let's not moan about it. I'm going to get all taped up. I'm going to get the frets level, and I'm going to send the owner of this guitar a little bit of video, because there are some problems with this. I mean, that bit there is pretty. I need to stain that up and get some super glue on there to get it all sealed in again, because that just looks shoddy. So that's happened before it got here. But anyway, all I can do is what I can do. So I'm going to get these all taped up. I'm going to get these frets levelled, and we'll get it all done. So fret friends, here we are. I have levelled the frets. I nipped on with it this morning. 240 grit one side of my levelling beam, 400 grit the other. I levelled with just a flat file of those that needed levelling, those that had excess material. Then I just did the normal level, mainly with a 400 grit side. You'll see now that the frets are all real flat, very flat. Don't know if you can see there, but they all are flat top. Now, I've removed as much material off these frets as I would like to. I would say some of these frets are probably 0.8, 0.9 millimeters high. I would not want to go any lower than that and have to crown them. Now, crowning them, for those of you who don't know, where the frets are now flat across this way, we need to put that crown back in, that arc across the top, and where the string hits the top of the arc, so a minimal amount. I will be looking at round about no more than 1/3 of a millimetre. Now, because I've had to level all these and take quite a bit of material off, these frets are quite low. They're as low as I would want to go. I wouldn't want to go any lower. If these frets were any lower than this now, I would be recommending a refret. Maybe in hindsight, a refret might have been the right course of action to take, but been commissioned for fret level. I will talk to the owner, see if he wants to change his mind, but I can still crown these, and you're going to get a couple of years, a good few years left out of it. You might as well do that and come back in 3 or 4 years time and have a refret. So I'm going to commence with the crowning. Crowning basically, where frets are flat, we're going to put that curve back in. I can explain to you what I mean about crown. Here's a fret I removed from another guitar, and this area, this edge here, should be a D shape, should be crowned, but the frets at the moment are flat. I need to put that crown back in. So I'm going to crack on with that now. I'll be using various files for doing so. 3-edge file with ground edges so we don't mark the guitar. I've got a couple of those. Blah 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 blah. I could also use pre-crowned cut on this file. I've got a couple of these files as well. This may be a bit wider than I need, but that would also give me the same kind of result. I'm going to do it by hand with my hand file. Probably going to use this one because it's a nice fine cut and it's a shallower cut, so that's probably going to work well. And I'll just round off, just remove any extra burrs using this grooved file here. So I'm going to crack on with that. Once that's done, we can move on to the fret polishing. So stay tuned, back soon. So I know you've seen this many times before, but I'm just going to crown a couple of free frets just for the camera, just for the owner of the guitar. Because remember, these videos are not for me and not for my channel. These videos are always for the owner of the guitar I am working on at the time. So explain what I'm going to do. I'm using 2 files today because these frets are so low. I'm using a fine, probably number 3 cut file, 3 edges. Each edge, as every corner on there has been ground flat, so when I go across the fingerboard I don't cut into, well, the tape in this case, but I don't cut into the fingerboard. And what I'm going to do is, with the frets are flat, I'm going to put that arc back in, and I'm going to cut each side, and as I file I'm going to roll toward, if you look at the file there, I'm going to roll over, roll over, roll over, roll over as I do it. Then when I come to do the opposite side, I'm going to roll away from the camera, away, 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 just to make that flat bit, and we're going to gradually make that curve, but we're not going to touch the top of the fret. We're going to leave all about 1/3 of a millimetre down the centre of the fret intact. We're not going to touch that. So don't really need to do any more explaining than that, but once I've done this I'll show you. I'm going to use a different file. So there I'm already cutting, so I need to angle the file now. And I can do forward and backward motion, or I can just go with a forward motion, which is the best, is the cutting edge. But either works. Always cleaning the file after every bit of fret. Now I'm going to work this side of the fret now. Not cutting until I angle away. Now I'm angling slightly away from you, so I'm just starting to make that arc now. This comes with experience, learning how to do this. It's my preferred method. If I really wanted to, I could use the next file I'm going to show you. But all I use the next file for nowadays is just removing burrs. So these are about 2.3mm wide frets. I'm going to go with a 2.5mm wide fretting file. It is grooved, and this will cut. Always cleaning the area. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove any burrs. And I basically concentrate on this flat bit of the centre, and then I just come in at the angles like so. Nice even strokes, leaving the line down the centre intact, always cleaning the file. I now have, that fret's not flat anymore, it's now got that lovely arc across the whole length, and then what I do is I will check the level. So I check the one I've just done, that's level. I go one back, also level, and then I go one forward, checking the next one, and that's it. A little bit high on that side, but we don't worry about that. I'll remove that slightly in a moment. Sometimes we get that just when we do this arc here, just on the edge, we drop a little. That is nothing to worry about at all. It's absolutely normal. So that's it. That's how I do it. I'm going to move on to the next fret. I'll just show you. I'm just going to work this one. I'm not going to talk. Just going to work, get it done, and then we'll just pause the video for a while. Checking the fret I've just done, checking the one behind, and checking the one in front. Absolutely uniform, beautiful. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frets left to do. Once that's done, I'm going to move on to the polishing. I'll come back and show you a little bit of that later on. So frets are levelled and crowned. What remains for me to do now is to polish, but before I polish, I'm going to go across with a fret rocker and just check that all the frets are level with each other. I know they will be, and I know they are because I've already checked, but I'm going to go across again. Just check the 3 areas, middle, outside, inside, or all 3 areas. So we now have a straight neck with level frets. Frets are all crowned. So all we need to do now is polish. And polishing is not about making them shiny. It's about 2 things. It's about 1, yeah, of course you're going to make them shiny, but 2, it's about removing all the scratches, making them more or less glass-like. So it serves 2 purposes, having frets polished. They look fantastic and they are scratchless. So you're going to get true notes, no matter where you finger a note on the guitar. And these are beautiful. And as mentioned earlier, this is just about as low as I'd like to go on frets. They're probably between 0.8 millimeters and 1 millimeter in height. I've not measured them. I've just done it by eye. They might even be closer to 1 millimeter. I wouldn't want to go much lower. I'd then be recommending a refret. This one's really a bit low. The problem with them being low is you're not able to crown them as well as you want them to. Well, you can crown them, but they're going to have still a bit of a flat surface, and you don't want a flat surface. So that's it. These frets are now levelled and crowned. So I now need to get them all polished. And I can just come a little bit closer and just bring you in. I don't know if you want to pause that and zoom in, but they are pretty much scratched. They have, a lot of them have a black line still down the centre. That is absolutely beautiful. So now I'm going to move this over to the polishing table and we'll commence with the fret polishing. Right, you catch me right at the end of fret polishing. I've been across with 6 different grits of paper from 800, 1200, 1500, no 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000, 2500, and I'm just finishing off with steel wool. I've got 2 left to do. These 2 are a little bit dull, all the rest are polished really brightly. So it's finishing off, just a matter of getting right in there, getting in the corners, you know what I mean by corners, and just finish them off. I will show you again once I've got this off of the vise, and I've got the tape off. So there you go, that's the frets done. So I'm going to remove the neck, blah blah blah. I'll give you a quick show. They're absolutely beautiful, look at those. And I'm going to remove the tape, set the camera up normal, and I'll show you how the frets look now they are done. I think, look at that, they look beautiful. So I've just peeled the tape off of the neck, the fingerboard in particular, and there is finished neck, or finished fingerboard should I say. Frets have been levelled, recrowned and highly polished, and if you want to pause that, have a quick look. They are absolutely stunning. They're low now, not too low, just about right. I won't go any lower than that though. But they are all done. Good thing about doing a fret level, you don't have to get into the lacquer. As long as you take the fingerboard up, it's all fine. That looks as good as anything I've ever done. And this is why people bring guitars to me for fret work. That looks fantastic. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to try and repair this area where it looks like that was chipped off when the first nut was removed. All I'm going to do with that is I'm going to clean it up, I'm going to felt tip it, just get the nearest colour I can to that. I know it's not a professional thing, but I'm not being paid for this. Just get some felt tip, just get the colour as close as I can, and I'm just going to paint a line of super glue just on the top, just to seal it in there. I could, if I really wanted to, sand that down and re-lacquer it, but lacquering is not something I do here. I'll leave that to the professionals. But that looks fantastic. So I'm going to crack on with that. I'm also going to fill these cracked areas that I showed earlier. I'm just going to mix up a little bit of epoxy. I'll put the screw back in, I'll put some matchstock in there or whatever. And I'll just drop some epoxy in them little holes, just to fill them little holes, not to do it professionally, just to fill it up and level it all off. Then we can get this guitar back together and get it back to its owner. Just a small piece of additional. I have done this. All I've done is coloured that in with some felt tip pen and just sealed it with a bead of super glue. It looks apart now. You're not going to see it next to the nut. It's not going to look any different. And when it comes to these, you notice I've put some screws in. All I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some epoxy, and I'll just put little drops in where these cracked bits are, just to fill in that area, just to bring it all back level. Everything that is under there is going to be covered by the tuners anyway. I just wanted to get it, I didn't want these cracked areas cracking up again, you know, once you get screws in that. So what I'll do is I'll drop a little bead of arrodite in there, well not arrodite, just some sort of epoxy in there. Once it's dried, I'll remove the screws, tidy up the area, and then we can get the tuners back in, and then I can get this back together. So in the meantime, while I'm waiting for my epoxy to set on this, I'm going to start on another project, but I'll be back with this one very shortly. Just before I get the guitar back together, I'm just showing that I have filled in all these chipped areas. All I did was drop in some epoxy, 30-minute epoxy, just let it fill and level itself off to the neck itself. It just means you've got no holes in there now. It means nothing's going to crack. Everything there will be hidden by the tuners anyway. It's just a shame that it was all cracked under there. This guitar has had work before, most definitely. I know the nut's been out before because this was all cracked and broken in. I've coloured that in, sealed it with a bit of super glue just to make it look the part. Once that nut's in, you're not going to know that's been touched. All I'm going to do next is I'm going to try and tidy up this area where the nut sits, because the nut slot itself is chipped both sides. So whoever took the nut out originally managed to chip the lacquer there. There is a special way to get nuts out that you need to know, so maybe I'll explain that a little bit later. But anyway, that's now ready. I get a nut on there, and we'll look at getting the guitar back together and back to its owner. Right, just gluing in the nut, and I've mixed a little epoxy, 30-minute epoxy. If I had 5-minute epoxy it'd be even better, but I don't have any. So I just mixed up some glue. You see I've taped off the area of the nut. I've left this little bit exposed because if some glue gets on there I don't mind, because that's where the bit of wood was missing. So all I'm going to do is just fill in this. I'm not even going to fill in this slot, I'm just going to put some glue, just get it down in that slot. Don't worry if I get too much in there, everything's taped up. Just about getting the nut in straight. Obviously I'm going to put more glue in than I need. Any squeeze out happens, not a problem. So I've got plenty in there. The nut is cut, shaped. I'm hoping it's high enough. Well, it's got to be high enough because I ain't got any high ones. And I'm just going to place that in there. Remove any excessive squeeze out. Make sure we are lined up straight. The last nut was in here quite messy, so if there's any squeeze out on the edges I'm not too bothered about it, because there are some holes to fill beneath the nut itself. But that is in. I'm just going to go down with my fingernail, I'm going to leave that on there, that little bead there, it's not going to harm anything. A little bit of spill out there, no problem. And that nut is in. I'm going to take a piece of, once I'm happy we've got it square, which I'm pretty happy with that. That's pretty good. I'm going to wrap some tape around there just to hold it in place. A piece of masking tape. I'm not going to clamp it. It needs to be clamped. I'm pleased that that's where it needs to be. Beautiful. I'm just going to place some tape over there, pull it down, and just let that hold the nut in place. I'll let that dry. I'm going to give that, in fact I'm going to give it overnight. I'm going to put the guitar away because I've finished for the day. It's 5 PM on a Friday. I'm going to have a bath. Me and the wife and some friends are going to have a quick dinner. My wife's cooking and we're going to go out to the pub tonight. So, have a good weekend people. Back soon. Welcome back friends, and here we have this Classic Vibe Telecaster all finished. It's not without problems, but what a lovely guitar these are. Now this came in needing a complete setup and needing a lot of fret work. I have done a complete fret level and re-crown. As you can see, pause that, have a look if you want to, check the frets, beautiful. The frets were really quite low, and they was as low as I dare go before actually offering a refret. I did consider refretting this, but I thought I'd just go with the fret level, see how we get on. And we got on alright, but you will not get another fret level out of this because the frets are about 0.8mm high. Other problems it had a lot of chipping around the nut area where the old nut was, so I've not been able to clean that up super well, though I have got the nut in nice. Let me just show there. You can pause and have a look. It doesn't look super tidy. We could have got that brilliant if we'd have done a respray on the neck, but I was not commissioned to do that. This side, if you want to look, stop and pause, it's actually not that bad. It's just it was all chipped around this area, so I couldn't really do anything about it. There's wear all the way down this edge of the fingerboard. Which means the guitar's been played a lot. If you look down here, so there's a bit of lacquer been rubbed off there. So you see the wood slightly coming through. But that said, it's not that bad a guitar. I managed to reset the neck and get it exactly straight. The neck was actually to one side. I had to reset it because these strings here were very close to the edge and these were miles away from the edge. And I managed to get them all nice and even now. The tuners were all over the place. They were like someone smashed in teeth. I managed to get them all straight. They were all chipped underneath as well, all the holes, screw holes. I've filled them in with some, I'm going to call it Aerodite. Aerodite's what we used to use years ago. It's epoxy, same thing. So we used some epoxy resin in there. Give the guitar a complete setup. Just set the intonation. That wanted a bit of alteration. Other areas, bit of scuffing and abrasions and whatever on this control plate here. I can't do anything about that. Can't polish that up. But everything else is done. We've got a set of early ball 942s on there. The guitar looks fantastic. Looks really, really good. So at least now it is solid. It's had quite a bit of work, but it is now ready to go back to its owner. I've just messaged the owner, let him know his guitar's ready, and sort out collection for it. It's beautiful. Now the neck is set. We'll pour a tiny bit of relief in there. I've got a nice action on there, just under 2mm on the low E, just above 1.5mm on the high E, above the 12th fret. I've got a nice radius going on there on the bridge, matching the neck itself. So that is it. This is all done. It now plays as it ought to play, and that at the end of the day is what it is all about. So quite pleased with how this has come out. But it is another one done, another one ready to go. So, as always, I'll sign off by saying check the website, especially the Facebook website, facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. That's facebook.com/NG17. My name is Victor Christian. I am Fret Friend, and I'm done with this guitar right now. You'll notice today, I'm wearing it all. I've got Gibson and Fender gear on. That's because I have Fenders and Gibsons. You know, and I don't choose one over the other, so there you go. But anyway, until next time, boys and girls, as always, be good to each other, and I'll see you soon.